Welcome to Storytime with Cozy Malka, where we gather to share tales about responsibility, courage, and honesty. As we come together, let's put on our listening ears as we're transported into amazing stories. For this episode, we'll be learning about bravery versus injustice as we continue our tale about the clever rogue Robin Hood and his merry men. So without further ado, let's find a cozy spot, grab a friend, and let's enjoy a great story. All right, we're continuing, and today we're on chapter 14, News from the East. While Sir Richard wondered, Robin Hood went on towards the forest shades, where, as his men gathered round him, and the rescued Will Scarlet, the knight marvelled still more. "See to our good Will, Little John," Robin bade, "for they have given him a nasty cut over the head, and we must carry him back to our retreat." He turned then to the knight. "And you, sir, though you gave me an impossible name, will perhaps come with us for rest and food?" "Right gladly," the knight answered, "but why do you call the name I gave you impossible?" "For that Sir Richard at Leah was drowned in the ship that had sunk when we went to join our King Richard fighting in the Holy Land. That is an old tale, and I must be the magician you called me if I am able to rescue a dead man from Isambard's dungeons." "Isambard's dungeons?" the knight echoed. "But they were the dungeons of Roger, whom they called the Cruel. I never saw Isambard de Bellamy all the time in my imprisonment." "This, then, is a mystery," Robin said, puzzled. "Good night. Tell us all your tale as we go back to our camp, and know yourself safe in Sherwood with Robin Hood and his band." "And who might they be?" the knight asked. "You mean that you have never heard of Robin Hood?" Little John asked in amazement. "Good night. Where have you been?" "Jailed from all my knowledge these past 4 years past," Sir Richard answered sadly, "so that I know not if my dear daughter be living, nor what hath passed in the outer world." "Then tell us all the tale," Robin bade, "for so we may help you." "The tale begins with my wife's dying," the knight said, "at which I determined to go and fight the Saracens with our great king, for so I might forget my grief awhile. Thus I gave my daughter Marian into charge of Abbot Hugo of St. Mary's, and agreed with him that she should be sent to Kirklees. Then, having but little ready money, I borrowed 500 marks from the abbot for my gear, and the hire of a ship for me and my men, agreeing to pay him 50 marks a year for the use of the money when I should return, and pledging my chief manor as proof that I would pay him. So he holds the deeds of the manor to this day." "I might have guessed the hand of Abbot Hugo in this dark tale," said Robin, "but tell us the rest." "Having made all ready, and bidden farewell to my sweet daughter, I took my men to Hull, and there we set sail in a ship bound for Bordeaux, where I have been told I should find others assembling on my errand. But a storm came out of the east when we had been but 3 hours at sea, and we drove on to Lincolnshire coast. Whether any other men was saved of the wreck I do not know, but I was lifted ashore in the end of a broken spar, which I clung, sore wounded, with a great cut in my head, and near on senseless. To the men who found me I had strength to bid that they take me to St. Mary's Abbey, and after that I remembered no more, for a fever came of the great wound I had got." "So you do not know if you came to St. Mary's Abbey?" Robin asked. "I have memory like a dream of Abbot Hugo and Roger the Cruel talking together," Sir Richard answered. "And after that a great darkness, as the fever came again. I weakened in the dungeons from which you released me, you who call yourself Robin Hood." "And for how long does the bond hold under which you borrowed the marks from the abbot?" Robin asked. 4 years, the knight answered, "unless it be paid by Michaelmas Day of this year, then my best manor lands are forfeit to Abbot Hugo." "So," Robin nodded, "all the plot is clear. He would keep you jailed, since even he dare not have you killed, for the full 4 years, and then the manor would fall to him. Also he would have you think it was Roger the Cruel who held you prisoner, and not Isambard de Bellamy, for he would have married your daughter Marian to Bellamy, and so shared up all your possessions between himself and his friend. Now there yet are 7 weeks to Michaelmas Day, good Sir Richard, and the bond is for 700 marks, said Sir Richard, while if it were but for 7 marks I could not pay it." "Rest content on that, Sir Richard, and I will lend you the money," Robin said. "But it is but a small sum to us." "Why?" asked Sir Richard. "Only a king could call it a small sum. And who are you that talk so?" "King in Sherwood, and some small relative to you by marriage," Robin answered with a laugh. "You shall see presently." For now, marching through the forest shades, they draw near to the outlaws' retreat, and began to descend the path in the side of the cliff that led down to their hidden glade. Sir Richard shook his head in a puzzled way as he saw the huts in the valley. Nay, he said, for I know all my dead wife's people, and there was none like you among them. But now Marian came running towards the path, for like the good wife she was, she had waited in fear till she could learn how Robin had fared over his daring venture into Evilhold. With no eyes for any other, she flung herself into Robin's arms, heedless of the men about them. I did not but sit and pray for you, she said, and all the time I feared for you in the den of evil men. Robin kissed her and held her back from him. We are all safe, and Scarlet back with us, with a wound for you to heal, Marian, he said. But look about you and see if you know any of those we bring with us. Then, with a great cry of joy, she was in Sir Richard's arms, folded close to his heart. Oh, we thought you dead, she cried happily. Robin, this is too wonderful. Ay, said Robin dryly, 'tis in truth wonderful what a hive or two of bees can do, if you use them properly. The knight looked at his rescuer over Marian's head. Sir, he said, I know not who you are or why you are here, but in one day you have restored to me my freedom and my daughter, though why she should first come to your arms in such a fashion. Plague on it, said Robin with a laugh. May not a man's own wife kiss him when he comes back? I could wish her no better husband from the little I know of him, Sir Richard said. Yet there is a smack of outlawry about this wild place, and if that is not venison I smell cooking, then I know not the scent of deer meat. Yet it is no affair of mine. Good Sir Richard, said Robin, some of the same venison shall speedily be your affair, and we will mark this a feast in honour of your release and that of my stout Will Scarlet, whose good wife gave me the 2 hives of bees that made such a rout of Isambard and his men in the castle yard, while I came looking for you. Marian set Friar Tuck to work dressing the meat from our larder, and when you tell him who is our guest, I warrant he will excel himself as a cook for my good father-in-law. Right merrily did they feast on venison and the meat of the wild boar, and fat geese and pheasants, with good white bread such as was seldom seen in those days except at the tables of the nobles. The good friar rolled out a great cask of strong ale and another cask of wine from a store they had captured on the way to St. Mary's Abbey, and Little John barely stopped to smack his lips before he set to with a will. Hold hard there, baby, the friar warded him, or there will be naught for me to eat by the time I finish this thimbleful of ale. A mighty miracle worker is our Friar Tuck, Sir Richard, said Little John, for he is able to make 2 quarts of good ale go into a thimble. That is the 3rd quart, said the friar, for cooking is a thirsty business. Then, good thimble, get you for eating, and leave me to my own platter, Little John retorted. And if you fear lest I should eat too much, cook more next time. Nay, said the friar, for I cook for men, not whales. But I stay not to talk, lest our mighty infant clear the board before I begin. So he too set work to satisfy his great appetite, while Sir Richard looked at his daughter's happy face, as if he could never take his eyes from her. And Robin told how he had tumbled the beehives off the cart till they all roared to hear how Sir Isambard danced about and slapped at his armor when the bees got inside it. They were still very merry when one of the band was seen leading a stranger down the cliffside path, a big, rough-looking fellow who came up to see to where Robin sat. Master, said the man of the band, I've brought in this Walter of Ravenscar, for he hath begged a word with you. Now welcome, good Walter, Robin greeted the stranger, for I have heard of you as one of Yorkshire's best archers. Sit and eat with us, and later we will try a bout at the butts with our bows together. Right gladly would I, good Robin Hood, but that I come on a sterner errand, Walter answered. Since we can find none in Yorkshire to help us, my master hath sent me here from Ravenscar to beg aid of you. How so? Robin asked. In this way, Walter answered, Sir Gurth of Ravenscar holds the castle, though he be a Saxon earl, by favour from Red King William to his father. But in the event of trouble, not a Norman knight near him will lend him aid, for they hope to see him overthrown, and his castle given to one of their own race, and now Ravenscar is in danger. And a long way from Sherwood, Robin pointed out. Yet there is time, Walter urged, for the terrible pirate chief, whom men call Damon the Monk, is ravaging up the coast, up by the mouth of Tyne, and my master Sir Gurth hath certain news that in 10 days or more Damon will sail down to lay waste at the country about us and besiege and take our castle of Ravenscar. Now we called on the Normans of Yorkshire for aid, but they laughed and said Damon might hang us for all they cared. They would, Robin commented. Then I say to my master that a Saxon rule in Sherwood, and it would be well to seek aid of him, and here I be. I must put it to the vote, Robin said after a moment's reflection, for all are free men here, and this is outside our own country. So when their feast was over, he assembled the band, and with Marion and Sir Richard beside him, told them Walter's tale. Now what say you, my men? He asked. Shall we go against this pirate and aid the Saxon lord of Ravenscar? A veritable forest of hands went up in assent, and a great deep-throated shout of "Aye!" told that they had only one mind about it. There's your answer, Walter, Robin said with a smile, for you see that if an Englishman do but ask help of an Englishman, he can win it, though how my foresters will fare against a pirate, and such a pirate as this Damon, is more than I can tell. We will get him on land, Robin, said Little John, and maybe treat him to a beehive or two, or so many good arrows that will think there is a swarm of bees about his ears. We must leave you here, Marion, Robin reflected, and also Will Scarlet will not be well of his wound, and I will leave a score of good fellows to guard you while the rest of us are away. It was planned out that day, and the next morning Robin and his men set out to get to the edge of Sherwood and make the rest of their marches by night, under guidance of Walter of Ravenscar. They took with them provisions for 5 days, after which Sir Gurth of Ravenscar would provide for their needs. Sir Richard at Liam went down to Newark, for he had heard from Robin Hood that there he would find a king's justiciary, with whom he could lay a charge against Abbot Hugo and Sir Eisenbar for his wrongful imprisonment. But as he chanced, he was a day too late to find the justiciary, who was on his way northward, and claimed hospitality of Abbot Hugo at St. Mary's, of which more may be said later. And of the 4 men whom Robin rescued from Evilhold, along with Sir Richard, one went back and sought counsel with Sir Eisenbar de Bellamy, who was so badly stung by the bees that he can neither sit nor lie down with any comfort. This man was one William, whom Bellamy had flung into a dungeon for a trifling offence, and now he hoped to win his way back into his master's favour. Back again, William? Said Eisenbar with vengeful satisfaction. Well, down you go to the dungeon then, and I will see that you have a sore back to sleep with. But if I had but a hive of bees, they should join you in the dungeon. But I bring you great news, Sir Eisenbar, William said, a little afraid now of having trusted himself to his angry master, but still hopeful. For I can guide you to Robin Hood's most secret retreat. Ha! Said Eisenbar, looked eager. Then we shall lay hands on the villain at last. He is away with his band, William said, but he hath left Marion, Sir Richard's daughter, in care of a score men. And I thought mayhap you might wish to capture her before you lay in wait for him and his men on their return. I have been with them, and I can guide you. Eisenbar looked at the man keenly. If this be true, William, he said, you shall go to no more dungeons, but if it be a lie, look to yourself, for I will have you skinned alive when I find you have deceived me. No deceit, but truth, Sir Eisenbar, William protested. Keep me bound beside you till we find out whether I speak truth and reward me suitably when the prize is yours. The prize, yes, Eisenbar reflected. With Marion in my hands, I will hold her fortune as well, and though Sir Richard have escaped me, we can swear he hath consorted with the outlaw Robin Hood, and so have him outlawed. All will work well for us yet, if only these cursed bee stings would heal. Get to your quarters, William, and I will send for you to guide my men when I have assembled them. Well pleased with himself, William obeyed, and in Evilhold the plot was matured while Robin Hood and his men marched towards Ravenscar. Robin and his men from the greenwood made quick fodder of Damon the monk and his pirate crew. They thwarted the sacking of Sir Gurth's castle of Ravenscar cold, burned Damon's ship, and captured the prize of his treasures, but their victory celebration was only short-lived. For Will Scarlet came on a big roan horse at a gallop over the ridges towards them, and drew rein by Robin Hood's side. Robin, he said, I have ridden day and night to get to you. Eisenbar de Bellamy hath burned out our glade, and carried off your wife Marion to Evilhold, with 5 of our good men whom he captured. Thank you for joining us for Storytime with Cozy Malka. We'd love for you to share with our friends what you learned from tonight's tale. Join us next time for the continuing adventures of Robin Hood. Thank you for joining us for Storytime with Cozy Malka. We'd love for you to share with our friends what you learned from tonight's tale. Join us next time for the continuing adventures of Robin Hood.